My dear children of primary 3, I once again welcome you to this lesson of mathematics. Remember, our topic is all about fractions, and our lesson is the same like the other lesson, that is comparing fractions. We are still comparing fractions. Let us look at one of the examples of comparing fractions. This is as we saw in the last lesson, that this one, 2 parts, these are 4 parts divided, these are 3 parts, and these are 4 parts, these are 6 parts, and these are 7 parts. Now you will see that a quarter, this part of a quarter, 1 out of 4, is small, and this part of a half is big. You will see that this part of a third is slightly bigger than this part of a quarter, and you will see that this one is smaller than this one. So what does it mean? As I told you, that the bigger the down part of a fraction, the smaller it becomes. So when the fraction is 1 out of 4, this 4 is bigger than this 2. But the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. You'll see that also this one is very small than this one, and this 1 out of 7 is smaller than this 1 out of 5. We can get examples here. The examples are, here are the examples, please. The examples are 1 out of 2 dash 1 out of 4. You are asked that use greater than or use less than. 1 out of 2, 1 out of 4. Use greater than or less than. So, hope 1 out of 2 is greater than this one. So you will say 1 out of 2. Since 1 out of 2 is that it is big, so you will say 1 out of 2 is greater than. You just write your word greater than. I can give you also another example. 1 out of 3 dash 1 out of 2. 1 out of 3, you are seeing 1 out of 3. This is 1 out of 3, and this is 1 out of 2. So this 1 out of 3, we see that this 1 out of 3 is less, is small than this one. So smaller than this one. So we can say that 1 out of 3 is less, because this 1 out of 3, we are seeing this part is less than this part. So here we can say that 1 out of 3 is less than. We can say it's less than 1 out of 2. I can also give you another example here, and that example simply says that 1 out of 6 dash 1 out of 10. If you get this example, 1 out of 6 dash 1 out of 10. Remember, I told you that the bigger this denominator, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. So which fraction here has the bigger bottom number? So we see that 1 out of 10, this one has the big bottom number. It means that this is small, and this one, it means that this one should be big. This one should be bigger than this one. So here we simply say that 1 out of 6 is greater than 1 out of 10. We can see that 1 out of 6 is greater than 1 out of 10. Now let us use the signs. let us use the signs. As I have told you, this chart tells us that when this down number is big, it means that the fraction is going to be small. Hope you are saying that the fraction is going to be small. You are saying that 1 out of 7 is small and 1 out of 2 is big. So that is why we say that 1 out of 2 here is greater than all fractions here, because for it, its part is small. Its denominator is small. Let us, here we use greater than. For you to remember greater than, you can use your right hand, because your right hand, the right hand is one which is having energies, the greater hand. So you can use your right hand. You will realize that the right hand is facing this side. So that's what we mean by greater than. So this one is greater than. The left hand, when you do your left hand, it will face the other side. Use your left hand like this, because your left hand is always the weak hand, and that's why we say it is less. That's why we say it is less. So this one, it means less than, and this one is equal to. In case when you find fractions that are equal, for example, when you will find a fraction saying 1 out of 2 dash 1 out of 2. Here, these fractions are equal, because here is 1 out of 2 and here is 1 out of 2. Just say these fractions are equal. So, according to the examples that we've seen, let's try these numbers using these ones that represent, this sign represents greater than, this sign represents less than, and this one represents equal to. I told you that for you to remember greater than, use your right hand, because your right hand is ever the greater hand. So when you use it, you realize that it is facing the other side. And when you use your left hand, it always represents less than, because it is ever way, for it is less. So that's why you will do it like this, and facing the other side. So according to these two fractions, when you try these numbers, according to these two fractions, which is greater and which is less? So here you can see that because this one is big, this denominator is big. Because this denominator is big and this denominator is small, so this fraction is small. This fraction is small. Why? It is having a big denominator. So we shall say that 1 out of 10, all at 10 is, we shall say this is less. This is less than. What is the sign of less than? We come here and see less than is our left hand. We do it. So this is less than. We go to part 2. 1 out of 2. We say that time that this is read as a half, a quarter. A half, a quarter. Which is greater and which is less? We can see from here this part and this part, which is greater and which is less. We can realize that a half is big. A half is big, or we can say a half is greater. So since a half is greater, don't put the word greater. For this time we are using their signs. We are using the sign, so you will put your sign as that a half is greater than a quarter. Let's go to another example. 1 out of 9. All this one I told you we can read it as and 9 all 1 9. This one you can read it as 1/8 all are 8. Let us see which is bigger and which is small, which is greater and which is less. Since this one is having the big denominator, it means that this fraction is less. This fraction is what? Is less than this fraction, because this one is having a big denominator. So, what do you say? You will not put the word that this one is less than, no. Instead of putting the word less than, you go and look your hands. Which hand is less? We shall see that our left hand. So we say 1 out of 9 is less than 1 out of 8. This is our remaining fraction, 1 out of 3 dash 1 out of 10. 1 out of 3 dash 1 out of 10. Which is greater and which is less? Since this one is having the small denominator, and this one is having the big denominator, it means that this fraction is big because it is having the small denominator. So it means that 1 out of 3 is greater than 1 out of 10. But how are you going to write greater than? So don't write the word greater than, instead write its sign greater than. That's how you'll do it. In case you come across any number that this side is the same like this side, you have to make sure that you put equals, because this side is equal to the other side. So today we have learned about comparing fractions using greater than, less than, or equal to. I thank you, my dear primary 3 members, for paying attention. Remember to organize your work properly in your books. Mathematicians are always clean in their work. They always compile their work properly. They don't scribble, they write properly as you are seeing. So thank you very much for paying attention. We meet in the next session.